feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. As my previous subscribers, welcome my little astronaut. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the RFK assassination. I know we all know exactly what happened, but part of me believes that that's not the full truth. So today we're going to be diving very deep into what happened. Specifically, no conspiracy theories here, don't worry. We're going to be taking a look at everything because the reason for this inspiration to this video is the guy who had supposedly assassinated RFK. He is being put on parole. And so we'll take a nice look at that as well. If you just want to jump to the tarot card portion of today's reading, check the description below in the comment section. It will be timestamped in the description below. Along with today, we're going to be giving you a little bit of information, a heavy deep dive into everything surrounding from JFK's assassination all the way to RFK assassination. This is going to be a very interesting video. I do hope you guys enjoyed this, so let's begin. But quickly, before we do begin, I want to put on some quick disclaimer. This is being live streamed on September 1st, 2021 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are in any way interested in booking it with me, just check the description below if you are, of course, interested. And here are some quick disclaimers that you see on your screen right now. Now, please keep in mind that this video is just for entertainment purposes only, and for education purposes only as well. Please, this is just for entertainment, so take it at what you will. And here is the last of the disclaimers. Now, if you do have a question, you do believe someone else did it, let me know in the comment section below, or of course in the live chat if you know or feel intuitively what you think happened. So I'm really curious to see what you did. And so let's begin. I have information here for you right now. All right, so as you see here on your screen, this is my screen currently. This is the information. So as you see on the photo, this is RFK. He is currently pictured here. He was his full name was Robert F. Kennedy. He was the Democratic candidate for 1964 presidential election. He was born on November 20th, 1925 in Brookline, Massachusetts. He was assassinated June 6th, 1968 in PIA's Health Good Samaritan Hospital in Los Angeles, California. His age currently at the time of death was 43 years old. How he died: assassination done at nighttime, but we know was planned. He was shot and killed in the kitchen ballroom on June 6th. He was married to Ethel Kennedy from 1950 to 1968 until his unfortunate death. What was Robert F. Kennedy known for? He was an American lawyer and politician who served as the 64th United States Attorney General from January 1961 to September 1964, and a U.S. Senator from New York from January 1965 until his assassination in June in 1968. So here's a little timeline. Now, as you see here, we have the yellow. That is the title of what I'm reading on. And then, of course, here we have the blue, which is really where I want you to focus on, what doesn't really make sense or what really popped out in terms of my intuition-wise. So there's that as well. The green also follows in with the blue, which is different colors to kind of deviate and make it easier for you to read. At this time that President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas of November 22nd, 1963, Robert F. Kennedy was at home with his aides from the Justice Department. J. Edgar Hoover called and told him that his brother has been shot. If you don't know who J. Edgar Hoover is, he is the FBI for or the creator and the founder of the CIA. Excuse me, or the FBI. It might be one of those. I'm not exactly 100% sure. Let me know in the live chat. Kennedy later said he thought Hoover had enjoyed telling him the news. Hoover then hung up before he could ask any questions. Kennedy then received a call from Darwell Shepard, a naval aide to the president, who told him that his brother was dead. Shortly after the call from Hoover, Kennedy phoned George Bundy at the White House, instructed him to change the locks on the president's files. He ordered the Secret Service to dismantle the Oval Office and Cabinet Room's secret tape system. He scheduled a meeting with the CIA director, John McCrone, and asked if the CIA had any involvement in his brother's death. McCrone denied it. with Kennedy later telling investigators, Walter Sirhan, that he asked the director, quote, in a way that he couldn't lie to me, and they, the CIA, hadn't. The FBI, Robert F. Kennedy's phone call with President Johnson. An hour after the president was shot, Bobby Kennedy received a phone call from Vice President Johnson before Johnson boarded Air Force One. Robert F. Kennedy remembered the conversation, starting with Johnson demonstrating sympathy before the vice president stated his belief that he should be sworn in immediately. Robert F. Kennedy opposed the idea since he felt it would be nice for President Kennedy's body to return to Washington with the deceased president still being an incumbent. Eventually, the two concluded that the best course of action would be for Johnson to take the oath of office before returning to Washington in 1971. Book reband of brother Aide Edwin O. Gutman recounted Kennedy admitting to him an hour after receiving word of his brother's death that he thought he would be the only one that they would get as opposed to his brother. According to the CIA report on John F. Kennedy's death, the 10-month investigation by the Warren Commission of 1963 to 1964 concluded that the president has been assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald, and that Oswald had acted alone. On September 27, 1964, Kennedy issued a statement through his New York campaign office, quote, as I said in Poland last summer, I am convinced that Oswald was solely responsible for what happened and that he did not have any outside help or assistance. He was malcontent on who could not get along here or in the Soviet Union. After a meeting with Kennedy in 1966, Arthur M. Schisnigel, wrote, it is evident that he believed that the Warren Commission report was a poor job and will not endorse it, and that he thinks it's unwilling to criticize it and thereby reopen the whole tragic business. Basically speaking, that he didn't want to criticize it and, cause controversy or scandals around it that forces it to open back up. In 2013 interview with the CBS journalist Charlie Rhodes, son of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., stated that his father was, quote, barely convinced that others besides Oswald were involved in his brother's assassination, and that he privately believed that the commission report was a quote, shouty piece of craftsmanship. The killing was judged as having been profound impact on Robert F. Kennedy. Moran assesses the assassin as having moved Kennedy away from reliance on the political system to become more questioning. The next topic is why Lyndon Johnson is a suspect. In the wake of the assassination of his brother and Lyndon Johnson's ascension to the presidency, with the office of the vice president now vacant, Kennedy was viewed favorably as a potential candidate for the position in the 1964 presidential election. Now, just an update, 1964 presidential election was where Johnson ran, hoping that he will win, but I can clearly see here that people wanted Robert F. Kennedy to run and not Johnson, so this caused controversy for Johnson. Several Kennedy partisan calls for him to be drafted in tribute to his brother. National polling showed that 3 out of 4 Democrats were in favor of him as Johnson's running mate. Democratic organizers supported him as a write-in candidate in the New Hampshire primary, and 25,000 Democrats wrote in Kennedy's name in March 1964, only 3,700 fewer than the number of Democrats who wrote in Johnson's name as their pick for president. However, in January of 1964, Kennedy did begin low-key inquiries at the vice presidential position, and by the summer, he was developing plans to help President Johnson in cities and in the Northeast based in 1960 JFK campaign strategies. Despite the fanfare within the Democratic Party, President Johnson was not inclined to have Kennedy on his ticket. The two men disliked one another intensely, with feelings often described as, quote, mutual contempt, that went back to the first meeting in 1953 and only had intensified during the John F. Kennedy presidency. At the time, Johnson privately said about Kennedy that, quote, I don't need that little runt to win, while Kennedy privately said about Johnson that he was, quote, mean, bitter, vicious, and an animal in many ways. Johnson claimed that Kennedy, quote, acted like the custodian of the Kennedy dream, despite Johnson being seen as this after the JFK assassination, arguing that he had, quote, waited his turn and Kennedy should have done the same. Johnson recalled a tidal wave of letters and memos about how a great vice president Bobby would be being swept upon him, but knowing that he could not, quote, let this happen as he viewed the possibility of having a Kennedy on the ticket as ensuring that he would never know if he could be elected on his own. Basically, Johnson was worried that he would not be able to be elected on his own terms without Kennedy's help. On July 27, 1964, Kennedy was summoned to the White House to be told by Johnson that he did not want him as his running mate, leading the former to say, quote, I could have helped you. Johnson wanted Kennedy to tell the media that he decided to withdraw his name, but he refused, saying that the president could do it himself. Johnson wanted a way to announce that he had refused Kennedy's serving as a running mate without appearing to be motivated by malice toward the man he disliked and distrusted. After making an announcement, Johnson at a, quote, off-the-record meeting in the Oval Office with 3 journalists boasted about how he had gotten, quote, that damn something off his neck, as he proceeded to mock what he called Kennedy's, quote, funny voice and mannerism. Though that's not published in the newspapers, Kennedy quickly learned of Johnson's performance and demanded an apology to the president to deny the story. After hearing Johnson's denial, Kennedy wrote, quote, he tells so many lies that he convinces himself after a while he's telling the truth. He just doesn't recognize the truth or falsehood. We're going to move on to the next topic, which is the Robert F. Kennedy assassination. This is the last paragraph. Don't worry, I'll go over the question that we're going to cover in today's video. And you can check them in the description if you want the timestamp. For Robert F. Kennedy assassination, he addressed to his reporters shortly after midnight on June 5th, 1968, in the ballroom at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. Leaving the ballroom, he went through the hotel kitchen after being told it was a shortcut to the press room. He did this despite being advised by his bodyguard, former FBI agent Bill Berry, to avoid the kitchen. In a crowded kitchen passageway, Kennedy turned to his left and shook hands with the hotel busboy, Jaquan Romeo. Just as Sirhan, I guess they have the same name, Sirhan, a 24-year-old Palestinian opened fire with a .22 caliber revolver. Kennedy was hit 3 times and 5 other people were wounded. As Kennedy lay mortally wounded, Romeo cradles his head and placed a rosary in his hand. Kennedy asked Romeo, quote, is everybody okay? And Romeo responded, yes, everybody is okay. Kennedy then turned away from Romeo and said, quote, everything is going to be okay. After several minutes, medical attendants arrived and lifted the senator onto a stretcher, prompting him to whisper, quote, don't lift me, which were his last words. Despite extensive neurosurgery to remove the bullet wound and fragments from his brain, Kennedy was pronounced dead at 1:44 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on June 6th, nearly 26 hours after the shooting. And here are some suspect motives. Johnson motives, presidency, power, and distaste for the Kennedys. John Edgar Hoover motives, civil rights issues, maintaining order, mistreatment of animals, and human experiments. Involved in massive cover-ups. Has a history of working with the mafia and corrupt politicians. Do not let RFK ask questions about what happened. Knows more than letting on. And here are some questions that we're going to go over in today's video. Of course, if you have any, please put them in the description below. Will Sirhan get parole? That's the first question, as he is being considered to be released from California jail today in our timeline, just so you know. Why did Robert F. Kennedy think that they would kill him before his brother, John F. Kennedy? What did Kennedy know? What makes them prime targets? What did Sirhan kill F. Kennedy? Was he acting alone? So we're asking whether or not he killed him. Was this a planned attack on Robert F. Kennedy? Was this an inside job? Was the CIA involved? Did President Johnson orchestrate this? Did John Edgar Hoover help plan this? He was, again, that just came in. He was, I think, either the director or the founder of the FBI or the CIA is one of them. Was Robert F. Kennedy killed because he was getting close to the truth? Was Sirhan Sirhan hired as a hitman? Why did RFK, former bodyguard, warn Robert F. Kennedy? Was it his intuition or was he part of the plan? And as you can see here, in case you're wondering where the information came from, it's from these two sources in case you want to go take a look on your own. So let's begin. But before that, we're going to go quickly to ad break so I can take a nice break and drink some water before we do begin. Now, please let me know in the live show what you think happened and who you believe did it. Again, please keep in mind this is just for entertainment purposes only. Again, I will not be touching on to any sort of conspiracy theories in today's video. Have you ever wondered how you can get access or find my social media, my webpage, anything from my Patreon page, from my classes, to book a reading with me, whatever you want, and anything that you could possibly think of, including submitting questions? You would go onto my YouTube page, click on the most uploaded or most recent video. You'll click on any of these or the ones that are uploaded as most recent. You will go there. You will go to the description, as in this case, and you can either click on submit your question, video topic, or request here. You can find it there. Or you can go check out through my website and you can click on this, which is Linktree at Chris. You click on that and it will take you to my webpage where you can find numerous different links, or it could take you to many different things along with my classes that will be uploaded here as well on my Patreon page. You can book a reading with me. You can submit your question. You can find the most uploaded video. You can go on to my 2 other YouTube channels. You can make a generous donation if you would like, along with joining my Facebook page and Instagram and Twitter as well, of course, if you are interested. So this is how you can find my webpage. If you are interested, let me know in the comment section below what you do think. And I'll return you back to your content. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so here's the question that we're going to cover in today's video. The first question we're going to ask is, will Sirhan get parole? He is the guy who was told to us that he had assassinated Robert F. Kennedy. So let's take a quick look. Hi, Sasuke, and hi, Doris. Welcome. You seem like you're having a fun time shopping. So yes, I hope today's video will be fun and interesting. If you have any questions or you want to go check in the description below, check the description below. Everything will be timestamped below. Okay, let's take a look. Spirits and Angels, tell me, will California allow the person who assassinated, I'm not going to say his name again, who assassinated Robert F. Kennedy, will he get parole for his assassination role in killing Robert F. Kennedy? No. No, he's gonna die. Okay, yeah, so we have the King of Swords. Here's Robert F. Kennedy, right? He was supposed to be president. He wanted to be president. He was running, and he was a threat to President Johnson, right? This is in the down return. It's in reverse, excuse me. And in the center here, we have the 2 of Wands, and that's reversed. And this is not outside influence. And what this is telling me is that he's a Palestine, right? That he's a Palestinian, basically meaning around Israel. So remember, they were both Catholic. Yeah, Doris. You may. I don't know if you guys realize this. If I'm freezing up, please let me know, and let me know when I stop so I can repeat it. The reason why I'm freezing up because there is a spirit here. I don't know if it's Robert F. Kennedy physically here with us, so I'm not exactly sure. So if we are freezing, it has a tendency because it's influencing the technology, so I do apologize. So let me know if anything's freezing. So what we have here is we have the 2 of Wands reversed, and this is very interesting because it tells me here that it's not have to do anything with the outside influence. So it doesn't revolve around Palestine or Palestinian, as in this case, the guy who supposedly assassinated Robert F. Kennedy is a Palestinian, which means he comes from outside of the U.S. Because they didn't mention that he was an American. And so what I'm sensing here is that this is more of an American inside job than a domestic terrorist from outside the country. We have here as well is we have the Knight of Pentacles, and this is reversed. It said it's gonna move forward because this is normally something that's like that has the potential, but it's not going anywhere. It's reversed. I have a feeling he's gonna end up getting parole, but then something's gonna end up stopping the guy from getting parole, and he's gonna end up dead, or something's gonna happen around him. May fall ill. They may try to say he committed suicide or something like that. Because we have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starting reversed. I think he's around like 90, like I think above 95. So he doesn't really have a much energy or strength to even defend himself. So it's gonna be very easy for them to say, oh, he passed away, or like he committed suicide, and it makes sense because he was in jail and stuff like that. They're gonna come up with some sort of an excuse. I don't see freedom. I don't see freedom for him. I think he's gonna end up getting parole, but he's gonna end up passing away just before he received that, or if anything, no parole, and he just dies. It really depends. It's really the outcome and how it chooses to happen. So that's what I see. Whether or not the JFK guy will get parole. I don't necessarily see. We could ask in that question, did he commit it? So let's ask the card specifically, because I have a feeling, because based on what I've just read, no, they got the wrong guy. Or he was the setup. Or he was like their fall guy, so to speak. I want to ask, did Sirhan Sirhan kill RFK? That was just after the first question I asked was, will Sirhan get parole? We're going to ask you, did Sirhan kill Robert F. Kennedy? And was he acting alone? So let's take a look. Spirits and Angels, please tell me, did Sirhan Sirhan kill Robert F. Kennedy? Give me a yes card for positive card, and give me a no for negative cards. Did Sirhan Sirhan kill Robert F. Kennedy? Yes or no? Give me one card. The fact that this is reversed is a no. The bottom of the card here, we have... Okay, so it's funny because we have the happiness card here, which is the yes, and then we have the no, which is the Empress. I have a feeling that he may have been part of the plan. Let me ask. Was he a part of the plan? Was he their fall guy? Was Sirhan Sirhan a fall guy for the supposed assassin? Okay, so we have here the 3 of Wands here. So there's 3 people involved. 3 different type of people, or group, or organization. All right, so we have here that we have him. So there's 3 people, right? This is him. So what it's telling me is that 3 other people, along with him, were involved, but he was not the one that pulled the trigger. Because we have the Emperor's card, right? Which is a yes card normal, but it's reversed. At the bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Cups, which is a yes. Then we have the Strength card. So what this is telling me here is that he was getting paid a lot of money, or was promised that his family would be able to get a donation or a diplomatic status, or whatever deal they made. But it does feel like he had the strength, and then it feels like he was being paid. But we have 3 different people who were involved and planned in this. And he was one of those people who was in connection with one of those 2 people. So he had a direct link, but he's not the one who pulled the trigger. So yes, he deserves to be in jail, but I don't see him as the one being the one to pull the trigger. Now, please keep in mind that it's just for entertainment purposes only, and that's all. And we have here in the future here, we have the 10 of Swords reversed, and this is interesting because he's not the one who did it, right? Interesting. Now we know he didn't do it, but we know he's a part of it. Let's ask the next question. So we know he's not acting alone. We know that he did not kill Robert F. Kennedy, but he was a part of the plan. So he must have been a hitman, and we know he's not acting alone. So that's what we know so far. Let's ask. Why did Robert F. Kennedy think that they would kill him before his brother, John F. Kennedy? Let's take a look. That's an interesting question to take a look at. Spirits and Angels, please tell me, why did Robert F. Kennedy think that they would kill him before they kill his brother? Why did he think they would kill him before his brother? Okay. There's no better way to ask the question and use the United States of Tarot deck. Let's ask. Kind of get a little bit more of an in-depth view on what we're reading here today. One last card. Perfect. All right, give me 1 minute. Okay, Spirit Santa, please tell me, why did Robert F. Kennedy think that they would kill him before John F. Kennedy? Or why did they think they would kill him before John F. Kennedy? Can you guys hear me? Why did they think they would kill John F. Kennedy before anybody else? Why, Spirits and Angels, please tell me, why did they think that why did Robert F. Kennedy think that he was going to die or be killed before his brother? Why? Okay. Okay. Interesting. We have Biden at the bottom. All right, we have Biden in reverse. So, interesting. So we have here that we have the moon. He has hidden secrets. He knows something that we don't, right? All right, I'm glad you guys can hear me. I hope I'm crystal clear. We have the moon here. And this is very interesting because what they're just telling me is that he knows a lot more than what he's letting on, and therefore he's being seen as a threat. Because what is here, right? We have the scorpion, right? They see the Kennedy family as a scorpion, like something that is dangerous, something that you must eliminate, because you know what happens when Scorpios are very aggressive, they're going to get what they want, and they're going to go for it. Because we have Robert F. Kennedy and his brother John F. Kennedy. And we have the sun, and that is telling me here in the moon, it's kind of giving me the energy and the feeling that this is the corporation, this is the whole system, this is the political system, and that they're barking at it, they're yelling to the world, to the public, focus there, look at them, they're directing eyes away from where it's supposed to be, where they want them to be, and focusing up there, because what they're telling the people, or they're telling them to look and realize what is really going on, and that you're being misled or being mistreated. Now, I don't know, the Wi-Fi is going a little iffy, so I'm going to wait till the little symbol disappears. Okay, perfect. You notice every time I talk about something important, the Wi-Fi goes AWOL. That's a sign. So we have the moon, right? We have the 9 of cups reverse. I mean, 9 of cups upright. And this is very important because what this is referring to, that they know a lot, and therefore they're being seen as a threat. They don't want the Kennedy legacy. They don't want that to happen. And therefore they are distrusting this is the system. What is going on with the Wi-Fi today? Can you guys hear me? Is it clear though? Is the Wi-Fi good? Because we have here, I'm hoping this is going through. Let me see if there's any audio going through. Let me go on to the thing right now. Let me see if there's audio. We're going to go quickly to app break just to make sure the audio is working properly. Have you ever wondered how you can submit a question or a video request? Well, I will show you in this commercial how you can do that. So you go to my channel, you click on any of my uploads or any recent videos that you may see, and you go to the description. As you can clearly see, I already clicked on a previous video. You scroll down and you click right here where it says submit your question, topic, or video request here. You can also add in a link and information that you would like to add in. You can ask at least 10, and you can keep resubmitting as many as you would like. You'll click that link and it will take you to my website. And this is what my website looks like. You can book a reading with me. You can find me email, other information along with my YouTube channel. You will click submit your video request here, and you will click on that. And it will take you to a Google form where you guys can fill out and be able to put all your questions here. So thank you all for coming, and I'll just turn you right back to your content right now. All right, perfect. Thank you, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I really hate the Wi-Fi. It's really bad right now. We have here as well, you see here that they see them as a threat. They see the Kennedys as a threat. And I'll edit the little pieces out where there's unclarity or there's some problems or issues. So we have a whole collection full of cards. So the next card is we have the Pentacles, the Princess of Swords reversed. And this is very interesting because you see here a storm. But we're acting right now. The question that we're asking, in case you forgot, let me pull that back up, is why did Robert F. Kennedy think that they would kill him before his brother John F. Kennedy? And this is very important because what this is telling me here is that he believed in some way or some form that the government was covering up something and that they must have known some sort of clearance level information that will be not only detrimental, but also be detrimental to the system in which allowed it to occur, which is this case, the presidency. We have the King of Cups. But what was occurring, because what he believed is, but asking why. Because we have the two of the towers, 9/11 towers, right? This is an attack on the United States. But it was also an attack orchestrated within their own government, within its own file, within its own ranks. We have here as well as we have this random dude in the painting. And this is kind of giving me the energy and the vibes of Robert F. Kennedy, like they were picking him as the target. So what may have happened was he was wondering why. Why did they choose his brother over him? But he thought he was going to be the first one assassinated. The problem is that we have the code red here, which is the button. And that if they pressed that button, they wanted to eliminate based on the strength of the character of each individual. Basically speaking, who was the bigger threat? And in this case, the bigger threat was John F. Kennedy over Robert F. Kennedy because one of them was president and the other one was not. But you also see here we have the tube, and it kind of gives me the energy of like this vibe of like someone wearing a chemical mask in some way or some form, right? A chemical mask, almost like code red clearance. There's something here that is very alarming that we're not aware of, right? The next card that comes out is the Ace of Pentacles, and this is interesting. Because what this is telling me here is the presidency, the motive for the presidency is that Robert F. Kennedy would change the way that we look at the presidency. Maybe we wouldn't even be called president. Maybe they would be called prime minister. But there was something, there would be a seismic shift in the way things would be handled. And because of that, the corporation was allowed the institution to be corrupt will be threatened by Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. We have here the King of Swords. The way that Robert F. Kennedy will be seen is the way that Obama will be seen. Almost like this charismatic, very calming yet peaceful, but very forward-thinking individual who will be seen as very young and very inspirational to a lot of many Americans. He will be the first of his kind for the Democratic Party, a seismic shift from where it was only a decade ago. We have here as well as we have the Prince of Wands, and this is reversed. Sadness, hope. That he wasn't able to achieve what he wanted to accomplish, and this was his brother. That he believed that he had more stronger ambition because the reason why they killed Robert F. Kennedy was because he was questioning things a little more than what they would have liked. And because of that, they had to get rid of the problem before it becomes the problem. We also have here as well at the bottom of the deck here, we have the Magician, the system in which it rules. And also in this case, you see here 45 with Vladimir Putin and the Soviet Union, Russia. During the time and the rise of what was going on, there was an institution known as the Red Scare. And the Red Scare was very well known and very prominent. It was called the McCarthyism, where they removed people from position of power who they believed was in some way or some form a part of the Soviet Union or a part of communist Russia who was starting to push the socialist agenda. What ended up happening was people quoting other people saying that, this person was thinking that and they wanted to install socialism as a way to get them out of power. And so what ended up happening is that during the Red Scare, what allowed this institution to rise was 10 years ago before John F. Kennedy was elected president, McCarthyism was ruling, and that they were removing people from positions of power, almost quote unquote today we hear drain the swamp, getting rid of good people to replace them with bad people so that the people who are doing the corruption can get away with what they need to get away with without any sort of obstacle in their way. And that's what I'm seeing here with Robert F. Kennedy and why that plays a major role. So let's ask the next question. What did Kennedy know? What makes him a prime target? Have you ever wondered for the longest time why that makes him a prime target? What makes the Kennedys such an intriguing individual to be assassinated twice, and he's not the only one to die, just as John F. Kennedy Jr. to be killed in a plane crash? Now, this could all be series of coincidences, and there could be many of them, but there is an odd chance, the reason why. And if you really think about it, and I'm not pushing any sort of conspiracy theories here at all. I don't even know what the conspiracy theories are. But it's an odd sense of coincidence that it just randomly occurred seamlessly within the same family, within the same train, within the same timeline, which is very interesting. So let's take a look at that as well. What did the Kennedys know? Let's ask that question. What did they know psychically? What did the Kennedys know as a family? At least Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. What did they know? Okay, we have the challenge here. This is the challenge. The 4 cups. What did they know? They understand a cover up. Something's being covered up here. What are they aware of? Okay, the 9 of Cups card comes out again. The World's card. Corruption. The Empress reverse. We have this card here. They're aware of something. He's aware of something. And this is Robert F. Kennedy, what we're looking at right now. Let's take a look. We're going to use this stuff right here, the Kipper, to kind of get a little bit more of a deep information on what we need to look at. What does the Kennedys know? What makes them prime targets for assassination? What did the Kennedys know? Okay, so our card just flipped. Okay, what else? What else did the Kennedys know? Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. What makes them prime targets for assassination attempts? What makes them prime targets? Okay, thank you. All right. You have a lot of cards, so excuse me for that, but interesting. We're going to keep them over here for a minute, and then we have the final outcome card. All right, so we have here, it's very interesting, because we have here the first cup that comes out is the challenge card, which is the 4 cups. They know something that they know on a subconscious level, whether this is intuition-wise or whether information that they received that is clearance that is only the few can know. They know something, and that could be tied to some potential death. And this also what it's telling me here is that there is some sort of blueprint that they saw ahead of time. So John F. Kennedy may have seen a blueprint for a potential assassination for some potential individual, or that this, I'm also hearing the Bay of Pigs, so that took place during John F. Kennedy. So I wonder if the assassination that was supposed to occur for Julian Castro in Cuba was actually the plan and plot for John F. Kennedy with just different location change. That is what I'm sensing here, that this has to do something with the Bay of Pigs in Cuba, with his policy in Cuba. What I'm also sensing here as well is that this has to do with some sort of role. They know a lot more than they let it on, and because of that, that is dangerous for the institution that allows them to thrive. We have here as well as we have the World's card reverse. Dark matter, dark information, insider trading, fraud, corruption, a lot of anything that's dark, maybe sex trafficking, anything that's really dark and something that seems so out there is most likely what actually occurs. What actually feels so out of reality is your reality. And in this case, we also have here, we have the corruption card right off the bat, corruption, holding on to power. We have here as well as we have the Emperor's card. The challenge to goodness, the challenge evil versus good. And for the longest time, it felt like evil may have won the White House. But it did. Evil did win the White House, and it ruled in the Senate, in the Congress, in the Supreme Court for a very long time. However, what is starting to feel like there's going to be a seismic shift soon. And that is because right now, evil has been winning. No matter what way you look at it, evil has won in some way or some form. And that is because good hasn't been learning to fight back. But that's not going to be the only thing. What we have here as well is, according to this, we have unexpected income. They, again, like I said, insider trading, fraud, they are aware of something. There's some sort of monetary tie, potentially, that could be relating to the mafia, could be relating to anything that is sort of corrupt, some sort of money trading, something went on there that they are aware of, that they know personally, that could be very detrimental for the institution. We have here as well, let's take a look at the cards that it came out to get more of a deeper inside look at what we read on. We have imprisonment, 29. So they were worried, the people who done this, knew that if John F. Kennedy or Robert F. Kennedy were to be in power, that they would be put in jail. And because of that, they feared that. They feared of being challenged on the House and being subpoenaed. A lot of these people and individuals work within the Senate and within the Congress. So I would not be surprised if both the Supreme Court, the Senate, and the Congress in some way or some form had orchestrated and participated in not only the assassination of John F. Kennedy, but also the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. We have here, there's some sort of expectation. The plan went as planned. So I have a feeling as well that Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy knew in some way what was going to happen. So that's why they knew that. However, they thought that they could trust someone thinking that they could clear and change the timeline. However, they were unable and unsuccessful to know who this individual was. There was a false individual between both of them, and that's why both John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy's death are so linked together. That is because the same person who was tied to John F. Kennedy was also tied to John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy. And that's very interesting because the only person who was tied to both of them who has some sort of interest was President Johnson. Right? We have the family room. And this is interesting because there's a lot of family. So family room, family talk. And so there was a lot of discussion between both Robert F. Kennedy and John F. Kennedy who were speaking about matters that they shouldn't be speaking about. And because of that, this is also going to be tied into Marilyn Monroe and her death and why her death is involved in this as well, because there were intimate things that were being shared, clearance level information that should have been shared. And because of it, the government or the institution feared that by telling or having some sort of interest with Marilyn Monroe and Robert F. Kennedy and, of course, JFK, they were integrating. Both of them will have some sort of marital or some sort of sexual affair with Marilyn Monroe. And that's very interesting because what they told me here is that there is some chance here that they decided to kill them all three of them, all in one. Because there may have been a plan, and I think this is very interesting because it tells me here that there was a plan put in place by whatever institution that wants this, that they were planning to do something with the people, the collective, at the time in which it was taking place for slavery. They were taking place. They almost feel like in some way or some form, the energy feels like they wanted slavery back. Not John F. Kennedy or Robert F. Kennedy, but it feels like the people who were running the government wanted slavery to be instituted back in America. The final outcome card is occupation. They knew that the only way for this information to be prevented and be given to the people was to be able to take the occupation of the presidency, the only way that they were able to do it. Only one brother was able to achieve this. However, they were both taken out, and so was Marilyn Monroe, in an attempt to hide and cover up what was taking place, the plan, the plot. And because of it, they both never received the justice that they deserved, the jurisdiction that they rightfully deserved. So the next question that we're going to ask today is, now that we know what they know, what makes them prime targets, we're going to ask the next question: was this a planned attack on Robert F. Kennedy? So that's a very interesting question. Then, of course, the next question I want to cover after that, in case you have forgotten or you just hopped on, the next question that we're going to ask: was this an inside job? Was the CIA involved? Did President Johnson orchestrate this? Did John J. Edgar Hoover help plan this? Was Robert F. Kennedy killed because he was getting close to the truth? We obviously know Sirhan Sirhan was hired as a hitman. Well, not a hitman, but more like somebody who takes the fall. So, of course, that question's already answered. And then we also have here as well, why did Robert F. Kennedy, former bodyguard, one Robert F. K? I'm going to just say RFK wasn't his intuition. So let's take a look. Okay. What do you guys think of this so far? I know a lot of you guys are not on right now, but what do you think? What's going through your mind right now about information I've been giving you? Do you feel like it's a lot? Do you feel like it makes sense? What do you think? And what is your intuition thinking? How do you feel? What do you think happened? Because something told me I had to do this video. It was like an intuition. Like I was like, oh, okay, it's time for me to cover that. Because normally I wouldn't cover something like this. All right, so let's take a look. in case you just forgot, what was the plan attack on Robert FK? RFK. Let's just do that. Let's take a look. Sirhan Sirhan will tell me, was this a planned attack on Robert F. Kennedy? RFK. Was it an attack on RFK? Sirhan Sirhan, please tell me. Was it a planned attack on Robert F. Kennedy? Was his assassination planned or premeditated, which is basically the same meaning? Was Robert F. Kennedy's assassination planned? Was it planned? Let's take a look. Was it planned? Spears name to tell me. Okay. Final outcome card. Alright, they told me the 2 cards were due, so let's take a look. Oh, okay. So we have his brother here. Interesting. I knew the card was going to come out. Alright, so we have here, we got the strength card reversed. And so the question is that we're asking right now is, was this a planned attack on him? Was this something that was planned? And we have here another list she persisted. So if you're wondering if a woman was involved, no, a woman was not involved. However, we do have the Capitol. And I'm thinking the Thomas Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C. plays a major role in this case in some way or some form. And I don't know why, but I do feel a lot of information resides within the Thomas Jefferson. So that could be where the meeting took place, where the planning took place, as it's a space where no one really thinks a terrorist organization or a terrorist attack would ever occur. The next question is, we asked, was it a planned attack? And we have here the hangman reverse. And it's funny because this was in Dallas, Texas. You see the limousine in the background with the American flag reversed, and we have JFK being assassinated. This would be the place where he would be assassinated, right in front of that building, actually. It's reversed. And what this is telling me here, let's just get a little bit more information, because I don't want to use my full-on intuition yet, just before. Okay. Well, we have it here. Okay, so let's see. What is the hangman card reverse? Because I'm going to use my intuition. Just give me a minute. I just want to make sure I get all the information. Okay, I told you guys. This is exactly JFK and Robert F. Kennedy involved the same individual. In some way or some form, 2 people were involved in both of their assassination. We have here high honor. This is what goes atop the hanged man. High honor. Right, so this person is somebody with military or background experience and how to assassinate. Or he could have been a sniper. This individual has background. Again, like I said, background in doing what he did. And doing what they did. So they have background. We have here wealthy man. So this person was obviously paid to do this. So somebody was paying somebody to do just this. And this is kind of giving me the vibes of President Johnson. And we're going to ask the question later on, did he do it? We have here as well as message of concern. And we all know a lot of people who have suspect of these 2 individuals, particularly that President Johnson saw Robert F. Kennedy as a threat to his presidency, and that there was a message of concern. It could also be as well as that he was getting too close to the truth of what happened to his brother, and they needed to eliminate him before he got too close. And the final card here is we have the false person. Because I asked, what does the hangman reverse card mean? And the hangman reverse card means false person. So what this is telling me here is that not only is the individual who did Robert F. Kennedy also did JFK, but here's the thing: both people who were arrested were fall people who fell in favor of hiding the actual person, so that they had somebody. They caught somebody, but it was an actual individual with a false person as well. So that's what we know so far about why, what the hangman means, at least in this case when it comes to this reading. You think it was planned? Yeah, it seemed to be that in the card. So we asked, was it planned attack on RFK? Looks like it. It looks like somebody fell. And we said that early in today's reading that who it was and who fell. All right, so let's take a look. Was this an inside job? Was the CIA involved? And the next question that we're going to ask is, did President Johnson orchestrate this? but there was many motives as to why he may have orchestrated it. Okay, let's take a look. Let's just ask the question: did President Johnson orchestrate it? First, let's do him first. Spirit Angels, tell me, did President Johnson orchestrate this planned attack on RFK? And if you want me to do a sequel, I can do John F. Kennedy as well. Did President Johnson orchestrate the killing and assassination of Robert F. Kennedy? Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Did President Johnson orchestrate the killing of Robert F. Kennedy? Okay. This is the final answer, yes or no, okay? Okay, so we have here as well, the first card that came out was, again, this card. We have the Princess of Swords, and this is interesting because this card came out before. And the reason why this card is so interesting to me is the fact that it talked about here that this is all about mental capacity, the mental ability. And I feel like as well as that President Johnson didn't have the mental capacity. And I'm looking at this woman's necklace, and she had the cross. And as you know, Robert F. Kennedy was a Catholic, in case you did not know that. He was the Catholic. And so it tells me here that it does not have religious motives in any way or any form. However, there is some other motives that he may have heard about, but didn't take part in it. At least that's what I'm getting from this one card. This does not mean the whole rest of the week can say that. We have here as well, we have the Hermit. Actually, funny enough, we have the moon here, right? Look at the moon. Then look at here, the moon. Interesting. Interesting concept here. But it's interesting. This was not planned. We have here as well, we have the Hermit card. And this is very interesting because what this is telling me here is that the future is uncertain, but no matter what, the truth is going to come out eventually. Right? Because you look here, you see what Bernie Sanders is holding? We have here, we have the owl. That's a symbol of health, but it also has the snake in the wing. And what it says is the snake is kind of like the tongue, which is all about truth. The truth is going to come out about this. But as of right now, you can see this pigeon or this bird, I'm not sure what bird it is looking down, sad and unhopeful. But yet the future is still bright. We're going to find out the truth. The truth is going to come out eventually. So flip it over. The next card we have here is the Nine of Cups. A lot of you guys know this is my election card, the presidential election card. And so this was part of the way that we were asked whether or not President Johnson took part in orchestrating the death of Robert F. Kennedy. And I feel like in some way or some form, this was to eliminate him from a potential contender for the presidency, for President Johnson. We have here as well, we have the King of Pentacles, right? We have tear down this wall. But that's reversed. And what this is telling me here is that this would have changed the potential outcome, what we could have faced in. Had John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, been saved or had listened to his bodyguard, we would have seen an outcome where Ronald Reagan would have never been president. We would have been in another alternate timeline. Right, and that's what I'm seeing here as well. That's interesting that came through. We have here as well, we have the Queen of Cups, the truth. Right, we see here the beach right here. We have the beach, the calmness, the sense of peace. Right, and this is Barbara Bush. This is the wife or George W. Bush from 2000. And this is interesting that she comes in at the White House. But we all know Robert F. Kennedy never made it there. But you kind of see right now in the background outside, it's kind of cloudy and a storm is forming, but it's still bright outside. It's still bright. But the book is open. That's the book of knowledge. What Robert Kennedy was accessing with the book of knowledge, and that President Johnson wanted to eliminate any sort of competition of any sort. We have here as well, we have the Six of Cups reversed. And this is interesting because what this is telling me here is that there is a potential for something else to occur. A different timeline. And it's very interesting because it feels like as if there would have been a third-party challenger. It feels like had Robert F. Kennedy lived, Robert F. Kennedy would have ran as the independent and cost President Johnson the presidency. And so Johnson knew that and wanted to eliminate it. And so by eliminating him, we have the Eight of Pentacles here, and then he gained all that power. He had all the Democratic background and support, and he had enough energy from John F. Kennedy's death that he was able to propel him into a second term. We have here as well, again, the Ten of Wands here, slavery here. And we have here the Two of Swords. He did not think too much about it. All he wanted was the presidency. He wanted to be president. So the motive here, it feels like potentially that he wanted to be president. So let's flip the card over. Did he do it? The pathway. He had a potential opportunity. Did he take it? We have here, no. He had the message, but he didn't take it. He may have given the message or left someone else to do the job. But no, I don't see President Johnson as the sole contender who orchestrated it. He may have been someone who played a role in that, but not somebody who physically was one of the main characters who planned the actual event. So no, that answer is a no. Okay, so let's see. The next question that we're going to ask is, was this an inside job or was the CIA involved? Did they do it? But quickly before we do that, I want to quickly jump to ad break so I can put the cards away and shuffle a good bunch so that we can get more accurate information. Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section below what you do think of today's video so far. Have you ever wondered how you can submit a question or a video request? Well, I will show you in this commercial how you can do that. So you go to my channel, you click on any of my uploads or any recent videos that you may see, and you go to the description. As you can clearly see, I already clicked on a previous video. You scroll down and you click right here where it says submit your question, topic, or video request here. You can also add in links and information that you would like to add in. You can ask at least 10 and you can keep resubmitting as many as you would like. You'll click that link and it will take you to my website. And this is what my website looks like. You could book a reading with me. You could find my email, other information along with my YouTube channel. You will click submit your video request here and you will click on that. And it will take you to a Google form where you guys can fill out and be able to put all your questions here. So thank you all for coming, and I'll just turn you right back to your content right now. All right, perfect. So now that you're back, let's ask the question, was this an inside job and was the CIA involved? We all know the question really asked and answered, was this an inside job? Most likely, yes. Was the CIA involved? Let's take a look. All right, Spirit Angel, please tell me, was the CIA involved in the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy? Again, if you guys would like me to do part 2 for John F. Kennedy, let me know in the comment section below if you would be interested. Was the CIA involved? Was the CIA involved in the planning of the assassination on Robert F. Kennedy? Final outcome card. Thank you. Final outcome. Perfect. What about this? Okay. Ooh, okay, card flew out. One more. Thank you. I love how the cards just fly out. It's like the universe is just telling me what I need to tell you guys. Final outcome card. Please tell me, was the CIA involved in the assassination or planning of his death? Okay, so we have a couple of cards here, so let's take a look. Okay, let's see. So we have here the first card that comes up here is we have the Justice card, right? The part of the CIA was defined as an institution, right? The Central Intelligence Agency, right? And the FBI was the Federal Intelligence Bureau, which is all about finding justice for all people, from all different backgrounds. Right, that was the challenge. That was what his intention was set it up for. However, it's being challenged by the high priesthood, corruption, clearance information, things being hidden, things being covered up, in the sense of the public is not allowed to know a certain thing or a certain information of some sort. It feels like in some way or some form that that the institution is being troubled by what was taking place, by what was occurring in some way or some form, right? We have here as well the Six of Pentacles being challenged by the JB. Again, like I said earlier, it was about what was occurring. Now, if you're wondering why I'm repeating information, it's because I have a feeling someone's watching and they're cutting out when I say important things so you guys don't hear it. Okay, so let's see. Was the CIA involved in Robert F. Kennedy's death? We have the Ace of Swords, right? A lot of you guys know this is my card for defeating an incumbent or defeating somebody who they seem as a deemed target. That's the card's reversed, and that's in the past here, right? We have Thoughtful or Thoughts, right? And that's reversed. They never really had thoughts in the past about doing this to Robert F. Kennedy. They only maybe had thoughts about it about John F. Kennedy. Again, I don't know that 100% sure because I didn't read on John F. Kennedy, at least not yet, unless you guys requested it. But I do feel in some way this was what they're thinking in the mindset, the path. Maybe they didn't see Robert F. Kennedy at the time as a threat, but now they did at the time in which it occurred. Again, we have the false person here again. We have here false individual, right? Again, this person comes up again when we asked about the death. Someone involved around this knows who the inside job. So this inside job may have been somebody who works inside the CIA, right? I have a feeling that they worked inside the CIA or they operated as such, or they said that they had a degree on a different name or some sort. And I apologize any background noise that you may hear. We have here as well, we have the Ten of Pentacles, and this is very interesting because what this tells me here is that there is a lot of funding, a lot of information that goes down different levels of seniority from junior all the way to intermediate to seniority. And it kind of tells you here that this is based on level of experience that people in position of power, based on how much experience they have within both the FBI and the CIA. Or this is the level of clearance level as well as how much information, who participated in what in terms of the planning and the involvement. We have here change. So yes, it does feel like in some way or some form, this was a way to change the direction of where the country was heading and also the timeline. So yes, this does answer the question, was the CIA a part of this? Yes, they were the driving force that allowed this change to occur, to allow this assassination attempt to happen. Right? So asking more questions here, we have the Four Cups. They wanted to ensure that he would never clinch the presidency. They wanted to make sure that he would never clinch this. They didn't want to give him an opportunity to clinch this presidency. We have here as well as we have the Seven of Swords. They wanted to seal it, but they wanted to make it look as if there was no motive behind it. So they waited until after the election or after President Johnson had announced that he was running with his running mate to make it seem like there is no political motive of some sort. We have here as well as we have the Princess of Wands. Worriedness that the truth is going to come out eventually. They're worried. And you kind of see how all the flowers blossom in. That they have a lot more red bleeding on their hand than originally intended. That the cover-up wasn't as clean as they had hoped. And we also have here as well, we have the Three of Pentacles. People are going to start to find out, and information is going to start to flow eventually in the future. So it does feel like in some way or some form, oh, look at the bottom of the card. Yes, they did partake in the involvement of the CIA. They did partake in it. I know that card was not planned. That was the bottom deck. Had no idea it was there. One thing I can certainly tell you now, based on what I see in the reading so far, is that the CIA was indeed involved in the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. Now, this is just for entertainment purposes only, and I am not a judge or I am not a lawyer, so what I am just saying is just for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's ask the next question. As well as, did Edgar Hoover help plan this? Now, if you guys don't know who Edgar Hoover is, he is a guy actually who is the founder of the FBI or the CIA. He was in one of those, but he was the founder of it. I thought, well, maybe he would play a major role in this because the cover-up occasionally occurred within the CIA, as R.B. Lee Haswell was also a CIA operative who came from Soviet Russia, who happened to just be a CIA operator, which doesn't make any sense. All right, let's take a look. Okay. Did Edgar Hoover, the guy who created the FBI and the CIA, did he, in some way or some form, was involved with, did he partake in the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy? Okay, well, that card came out real quick. Was he involved? Does anyone know exactly when Martin Luther King died? Does anybody know when? I'm trying to figure out when that happened. Get the cards here. Too many, so we'll put it back in. Okay. One more card. Was he involved? Yes or no? Yes or no? Was he involved in the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy? Okay. Then we have this card as well. Let's take a look. Get that card here. We have slavery again. That card came up again. Was Edgar Hoover the one who orchestrated the death of Robert F. Kennedy? Interesting. That card comes up. Official person. Great fortune. Message of concern. Coffin. Interesting. Okay, so I'll show you those cards in a minute. All right, so we have here, as well as we have the Hierophant. This is interesting. What took place with Martin Luther King was also taking place at the same time. The planet was taking place during the assassination attempt on RFK. Right, and so that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that as there's some sort of correlation, because we have here as well get the Prince of Wands here, and this is interesting because it's upset, but it's also almost like as if he's happy, because you see here we have Paul Ryan, and he's like disdained for what had occurred within his own Republican Party. But this has to do with Edgar Hoover. Did he partake in the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy? Right. We have here as well, the card comes up again, the Princess of Swords. And this is interesting because of the mental capacity. No, he was not the main one, but he could have been somebody who played a major role, but wasn't directly the one who shot and killed him. But he was somebody who was involved. Because we have here as well, you have the Six of Wands. He helped cover it up, but he wasn't 100% in on the plan. He didn't know what exactly was going on. So maybe at the higher ups, he didn't understand, but maybe people at the lower level knew what was happening. Because of that, it will look very bad on the CIA and FBI after something like that been created, was trounced and triumphed. Justice seemed to do the exact opposite. And so we have here that cover first. And this is interesting. No, he did not participate directly, but indirectly, that's something different. It does feel like he did participate indirectly, but not directly. We have at the bottom of the deck here, we have the Ten of Wands here. This is interesting because picking the fruit of labor. We have here the Princess of Wands here with Kamala Harris at the helm. And then we also have here the Ten of Cups. I feel like he was too busy with his home life, and he was very happy with the success of the FBI that he didn't want to trouble it with the investigation of Robert F. Kennedy, which is why it closed so quickly. Now, I don't know exactly when the investigation closed because I have no idea. I didn't really look too deep into this. I only looked like maybe about like 15 minutes because I was just piecing it all together so you guys have information and background on what today's video is about. We have here is, was he involved? We all know he's a mature man. I mean, he's a man, right? He's older. We have here, he was not the main male. Like I said before, he is not the main individual. So no, he was not somebody who was directly involved, but could have been indirectly involved. However, a woman was involved here. So someone older. So someone older with more feminine in energy than masculine. We have here as well the pathway. Pathway to the light. He wasn't on the pathway to lightness or goodness. He was a very dark individual. He had dark energy here. And we have distant horizon. No, I don't feel like in some way that he had intentionally wanted to do it or didn't. I feel like he had a lot of intention with John F. Kennedy, and that's what I always gotten. But it was more like President Johnson did John F. Kennedy. But it feels here that no, he did not partake directly. However, we do have here, we have unexpected income. He may have funded this. He may have given the proper resources for this to occur. Because we did see the card in the beginning of today's video. We have here thoughts. There were thoughts about whether or not he wanted to partake in this. There are thoughts here. Like I said, he had thoughts about this. About this official individual. Remember, he was an official. He was a senator who was running, hopefully, to be president one day. Right? Because of this, he made money off of this. He made a lot of money. Now, I don't know if this is true. I'm just reading what the tarot cards are. If you can confirm this, let me know in the comment section. We also have here a message of concern. Remember when he called, and if you don't remember, let me pull up this thing right now. The message of concern is very significant here. Let's pull up when John F. Kennedy got killed. Let's see. When Edgar called him. So at the time, the President Kennedy was assassinated. That was on November 22nd, 1963. Robert F. Kennedy was at home with his aides from the Justice Department. J. Edgar Hoover called him and told him that his brother has been shot. However, he then proceeded to hang up before he allowed Robert F. Kennedy to ask any question. Kennedy later said he thought Hoover had enjoyed telling him the news. So that is why that is very important, and why that question, that statement, the message of concern is so significant here. Thank you, Gossip Girl. The person who I said Barbara Bush, her actual name is Laura Bush. So I kind of get the two confused a bit. Thank you for your confirmation there. We have here the message of concern, right? We're talking about Edgar Hoover and was he involved, right? He was showing his sympathy towards John F. Kennedy and his death, right? He's acting as if he is in turmoil, like he was in despair, but he really didn't care, really. He did not care about what happened to John F. Kennedy. And in case it's the mail, and we have here the Lover's card. The Lover's card was the brotherly love between John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy. We have here courtship and marriage. The union between it. There's a union. There's some sort of collection between John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy with Edgar Hoover that involved them all in what was taking place. And we have here, again, the message. I have a feeling that what was taking place, because what I'm seeing here is that Edgar Hoover was in the room with President Johnson when this plan was being orchestrated, being asked of both of them if they would like to partake in an assassination on Robert F. Kennedy. And that is what I'm getting from this reading, is that Edgar Hoover was in the room with President Johnson when this was occurring at the building of Thomas Jefferson Memorial. So that is what I got so far, which is interesting enough. That was pretty detailed. All right, so the next question that we're going to ask is, was Robert F. Kennedy killed because he was getting close to the truth? And then the last question that we're going to ask after that was, why did Robert F. Kennedy, former bodyguard, warn Robert F. Kennedy, and was the intuition? So I'm going to go back to ad break because I need to put some time in to put the cards away. So I'm going to go to ad break again. I apologize. Hello, everyone. As you see on the screen right now, we have 34% of YouTube recommending our content. The best way for us to raise this number or bar higher is by subscribing, hitting the bell icon, and liking this video and sharing it with other people. And don't also forget to comment in the section below what you think of the video and its content. It will be extremely helpful for us getting other people to know all about our channel, what we do here. If you do love the channel, definitely try to help out as much as you could. I really appreciate it, and I love you guys, and I hope you enjoy the content. Bye. Okay, so perfect. So I am going to allow you guys to just wind down for a second, give you a moment to kind of relax, hone in, and kind of truly ask yourself about the question. Sorry. Ask the question to yourself specifically, was Robert F. Kennedy killed because he was getting close to the truth? I'll give you a moment. And let me know in the comment section or the live chat. Now, please don't use any links or any sort of words that could trigger the algorithm into filtering or not showing up your comment. So I don't want your comment to be deleted. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. So, spirits and angels, please tell me Was Robert F. Kennedy killed because he was getting close to the truth and they wanted to take him out before he released the truth publicly? Okay. Ooh, I don't want to hurt my cars, my little babies. Was he killed because he was getting close to the truth? Was Robert F. Kennedy killed because he was getting close to the truth and they wanted to take him out? Oh, there's a lot of cards here. It's the sun. And the final card. The card keeps coming up with 4 cups here, and we have the King of Wands. Alright, so we have to ask the question is, was Robert F. Kennedy getting close to the truth? And we have the Fool card here, and it's being challenged by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of Swords. So what this is telling me here is that the Fool card, not being restricted, not caring that if they assassinate him. I don't feel like if, oh, they're my brother, I'm not going to show them I'm scared or I'm going to step down because the people have the right to know. And this is the Fool card. The stubbornness, the willingness to go out even when it's not within your own best interest because either could put you in harm's way. We have here as well, so you do think he did that stuff again. Interesting, thank you. We have here is we have the High Priestess card, and this is interesting because what this is telling me here is that there is strong intuition. He knows something. There was downloaded information from the spirit guides, from the spiritual world, from the others that downloaded into his knowledge, questioning what happened to his brother. We have here as well as we have the King of Pentacles, right? A lot of what he was saying was actually, believe it or not, true. Right? A lot of those weren't just thoughts. Those were actually confirmation for him, and the spirit guides were giving it to him not to expose them in a way, but to allow him to be able to get over what had occurred to his brother, to recover from the trauma. We have here as well as we have the 6 of Wands here. That had he been president, he would have said it and released it publicly. I had a feeling that if he was to be president, because it's now 11 right now in Eastern Standard Time, so that's important. We kept seeing the Twin Towers, and it's now 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again. We have here is that him coming in victorious. And I have a feeling that after he won, just hypothetically, because this is the timeline I'm seeing here, because if he had won, what he planned to do was he was planning his inauguration speech was to expose the truth. Because at that point, the most people will be watching his inauguration speech. And that the information will be out there. And even if they assassinate him, the public will know. And so they knew that he was thinking that he may have mentioned to somebody who had trusted, and therefore they see him as a bigger threat because of it. He knew the truth. He knew the truth already because he had it intuitively. But the people who he told this to saw it as a threat and told their master. And because they told their master, he was assassinated. We have here as well, we have the Ten of Cups here. People being celebrated, people happiness. It's inauguration day. And we have here the 4 Cups, never being able to get the opportunity to be president. Because if you really think about it, Robert F. Kennedy was supposed to be the first president before JFK. But then something happened and he didn't do it. But then his brother died. Then he was thinking about running for like 1964, not really. So he kind of said no. And then he had 1968 and decided, you know what, I'm going to run for president. But because he allowed President Johnson to run, he was hoping in running in the next presidential election after 1968, which I believe is 1972 when President Nixon ran. So that's interesting because he was hoping in running, but he didn't. He didn't win. We know that because the timeline never occurred. But had it did, that's what would have happened. Because we have here at the bottom of the card, we have the King of Wands here. In our timeline, we have Richard Nixon, which is the conservative card in the case. So it does feel like in some way he was getting close to the truth. And what is the truth? That this revolved around his brother's death, John F. Kennedy. What the truth that he was getting to, does this involve his brother's death? Or what is it specifically? Is there something else that we don't know about? Because I'm assuming his brother, but let's see what the cards are saying. So we have money, so economy here. So something with money here. We have the White House. The White House. Something with money in the White House. Family room. The Roosevelt room. Okay. Then we have here mature man and mature woman. He knows something about 2 people. Maybe he knows the people who committed the crime against his brother and that he was going to expose them. Potentially because he may have realized it's in 1965. We have here a 6 and a 5 here, 1965. He may have realized something. That they were in the dark, that he did something here. So it feels like he knows who did it. Basically, best part, that he knows who did it, really. And we have jurisdiction, that they didn't see the justice that they rightfully deserve. Yes, David, thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad you like it. All right, guys, let's ask the very last question. Why did Robert F. Kennedy, former bodyguard, warn Robert F. Kennedy? Was it intuition? In case you just hopped on now, I'm going to read you back the pretext about what happened with his interaction with the bodyguard. And I'm going to reread the entire assassination and what occurred with Robert F. Kennedy, why I found it very important to ask that question. So let's take a look. Okay, let's talk Robert FK assassination. Okay, as he addressed his supporters shortly after midnight on June 5th, 1968, in the ballroom of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. Leaving the ballroom, he went through the hotel kitchen after being told it was a shortcut to the press room. The reason why I highlighted that because I found it odd that he was being told to take a shortcut to the press room. And the next line is where you need to really focus your energy. He did this despite being advised by his own bodyguard, former FBI agent Bill Barry, to avoid the kitchen. In a crowded kitchen passageway, Kennedy turned to his left and shook hands with a hotel busboy, Jaquan Romeo. Just as Sirhan Sirhan, a 24-year-old Palestinian, opened fire with a .22 caliber revolver. Kennedy was hit 3 times and 5 other people were wounded. Kennedy lay mortally wounded. Romeo cradled his head and placed a rosary in his hand. Kennedy asked Romeo, quote, "Is everybody okay?" And Romeo responded, "Yes, everybody's okay." Kennedy then turned away from Romeo and said, "Everything is going to be okay." After 7 minutes, medical attendants arrived and lifted the senator onto a stretcher, prompting him to whisper, "Don't lift me." And I find that very important, "don't lift me." Which is basically saying, because what I got from my intuition was he was saying, "Don't forget me. Don't let my story be untold." Which were his last words. Despite extensive neurosurgery to remove the bullet and from the bone fragments from his brain, Kennedy was pronounced dead at 1:44 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on June 6th, nearly 26 hours after the shooting. So that is what occurred there. Just to get back the guy's name, the bodyguard was FBI agent Bill Barry. So let's take a look. So the question that we're asking today is, why did Bill Barry, the bodyguard of RFK, warn Robert Kennedy Jr.? Oh my God, it's just so complicated saying their names. So I'm so used to saying John F. Kennedy. My God, I apologize, guys. All right. Spirit answer, Tommy. Why did Bill Barry warn Robert Kennedy Jr.? Robert Kennedy. My God. These people, the names are so similar, they keep renaming their kids after the same person that died. All right. Why did he warn Robert Kennedy? Why did Bill Barry, the former FBI agent, warn him? Okay, the card came up before. You guys may have remembered. Let's see. Why did Bill Barry warn Robert F. Kennedy? Why? Not to go in the kitchen. Okay. I heard demise here. Demise will be fast. Okay, the card flew out, so let's leave it like that. The challenge to this. Okay, so the question that we're asking today is, why did Bill Barry, the former FBI agent who was the bodyguard of Robert F. Kennedy, warn and told Robert F. Kennedy not to go in the kitchen. We have the Temperance card. He knew that the energy felt weird in the kitchen and something felt off. That in God he knew something was going to happen, that something weird was going on. That his suspicion that he was being held captive in some way, his bodyguard was being held captive in some way to partake in this plan, and that his bodyguard actually knew what was going to happen and partook in it, and only hoped that he could be able to warn him in time. We have here as well, we have the Five of Wands reversed, and that's interesting because he knew that something bad was going to happen, but he knew it didn't happen yet. He didn't want his suspicion to get the best of him when he could have done something that could have changed the outcome. We have here in the future as well as we have the King of Pentacles. Although he died, Robert F. Kennedy, the bodyguard knew that he did everything he could to ensure that he would be safe, even on his last day working for him. And we have here the Ace of Cups. He tried to warn him. It was a sign from the divine. He tried to warn him, but he ignored the signs, and because of it, he paid the price. We have here as well, why did he warn him? Because he was on the righteousness. He was the one of the good people who wanted to do right by Robert F. Kennedy, that he was an ally, a friend, not a foe. We have here as well that he knew the death was going to be imminent. He knew in his own mind that this was the most likely outcome. He just didn't want it to happen. That he knew. I feel like he had dreams or visions waking up every day, seeing it. And because of it, he knew something was going to happen. We have here the Three of Swords. He didn't expect assassination. He expected more of a kidnapping. But an assassination attempt occurred. And we have here as well is that he knew that what will happen in the kitchen, he will never recover from. Which is the Five of Pentacles reversed. On the bottom of the deck here, we have the Fool, being too stubborn to not listen to the truth, right? And we also have here as well as we have, again, the fear of Robert F. Kennedy being told here that he knew the truth, and even so did the bodyguard. The bodyguard was protecting him, who was, in this case, the cups resemble Robert F. Kennedy, and this is the bodyguard, Bill Barry, protecting him on his last day. And we have here is, we had the Devil card, right? Ensuring that power can always maintain and hate shows just and be spread there. You kind of see people dying, or skulls fired, the deceiver, death, right? He knew what was going to happen. I mean, he knew that was going to happen fast, that there was an opportunity for Robert F. Kennedy, if he had made the proper choice, he would have seen the light. He would have been on the white horse, but instead he chose the black horse. And we have here, because of it, he would never become president, at least not in our timeline, because he made the wrong choice. And therefore, the monarch is reversed, which is, in this case, is Michelle Obama, which is the Queen of Wands. And we have here, the card that crosses it is expectation. Is what crosses the Devil, the Chariot, and the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Wands, excuse me. And what this basically tells me is that it was a matter of time for him to happen. So anyway, so there you go, guys. That is what happened to Robert F. Kennedy and everything. Although we haven't found out exactly who did what, we have a little bit more information on what happened when it occurred. So I hope you guys do like today's video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more notification until when I upload next. I won't be going live tonight with my dream. I feel like I need more time because this was indeed a long video. Again, I do hope you enjoy it. If you want me to follow up with a John F. Kennedy video, let me know in the comment section below, or of course send a submission onto my website. And if you send a submission, you're more likely to get the video up and loaded as fast as possible. I just referring to it in the comment section. All right, guys, I love you guys. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, King Doris and David and Gospel Girl, for all coming. I love you guys. Hope you have a very beautiful night. Hope you found this video to be informative and entertaining. I love you. Bye.